Hello everybody! I wanted to share the artwork I made for the Regretevator Art Contest. This will be my first long-form video, so let me know what you guys think in the comments. Alright, let's get into it. Starting off with the concept, I knew that I wanted to draw some characters hunting for eggs. The first characters that came to mind were Poob and Melanie. I then added Prototype and Skag searching for eggs with Melanie. I also wanted to add Folly somewhere, simply because I liked Folly, so I added her having a picnic with Walter in the background. I like to think that she's sharing some of her poems with him on a nice spring day. After I got the rough thumbnails done, I started to go in to add some more detail. I kept going back and forth on Poob. I was trying to figure out how I wanted to draw him, mainly whether or not to give him a nose. I ended up not changing him much from his original design. I was also going to give him a bunny headband for Easter, but instead I went with the flowers because he needs his party hat. The rest are pretty straightforward in the sketch phase, though Melanie and Prototype are very rough, and I do go back to them a little bit before doing line art. As I moved to Folly and Walter, I struggled with what to do with Folly for a sec. First I wanted her to be standing, then I realized that didn't really work with moving things and where I had originally placed. Then she was sitting holding a paper with poems, but I still didn't like that, so I just gave her some tea with Walter. Next I sketched out the background a bit more and started working on blocking in some of the colors. Then I start on the line art. I start with the sketch of flowers, and clearly I wasn't done trying things with Pooh because I briefly gave him fingers, then changed my mind, which was definitely for the best. I also was going to try and make a fancy basket, but I decided against it. I don't know about you guys, but as a kid I had colorful plastic baskets I used to collect eggs in. I'll add a bit more details to the baskets and color. Moving on to Melanie and Prototype. They were much more straightforward. The only thing that was bugging me was Melanie's paws, which I ended up changing multiple times. I went from having her hand up facing her to having it waving out to Poob. I went into more details with the sketch of Prototype before moving on to the line art. The reason why I decided to have Prototype holding Skag is simply because I like Skag. I recently built a computer and I named it Skag after Skag because Skag. I do think that Prototype looks a little weird with his eyes not colored, but it's fine. That'll be fixed later. Moving on to Walter and Folly, I also went back and tried to refine the sketch. I mean, to be honest, I should have just done another pass on all the characters since I end up doing that anyways, but it's okay. You live and you learn. I realized too late that I was originally going to give Walter a flower necklace, but it's fine because he has his classic scarf. When I started with Folly, I played around with switching her side with Walter because I realized I had picked a weird angle for her with her design. I feel like it probably would have been easier if I had done her other side, but then I would have had to redraw Walter, so I stuck with it. Now going on with the color, I decided to do a fun just sunny day background with the axolotl sun logo as the sun. And then I just start blocking in the color. I end up just doing basic cell shading later on, but for now it's pretty simple. You know, they're basic colors. I ended up going with pink for the flowers just because I thought it was very spring and Eastery. I was going to give Melanie a flower crown, but I decided to put a little flower on her jacket instead just because I felt like it worked a little bit better. Plus Skag has the little flower crown, so it's just a little different. And then going on to the Easter eggs, there were a bunch of characters that I wanted to add, but I wasn't sure how to make them properly fit within their composition, so I decided to make the Easter eggs different characters, that way I could still have them represented. So Poob has Split, Bive, and Pilby. It's kind of hard to see, but Melanie has a pest egg, though it's kind of hidden there. I'll eventually add a few more eggs scattered around as well. And here I'm just doing basic cell shading. I didn't want to do anything too complicated. I did debate for a second about doing complex shading, but then I had a lot of school projects to do and I said, you know what? Cell shading works perfectly fine. Aaron is cell shaded, you know, it's great, it's fine. You'll notice that even in the coloring phase, I end up going to like tweak Melania's paw because I just wasn't happy with it. I just kept changing it, but it's fine because eventually I got something that I liked and that I was happy with, and I just kept it at that. I then go back to add some detail to the buckets to make them more festive and have like a fun little Easter design. And then I wanted to add a few more eggs scattered around, so you'll see Null, Buck, and Reddy. I don't have a lot of reason for why I picked those characters. Like Buck, I picked just because I love Buck, and the other two, I saw them on a lineup and was like, sure. But other than that, I'm just like, adding some flowers and putting all my finishing touches on the artwork. Alright, so this is what I ended up coming up with. I was originally going to make it animated, but I did not have time because I am swamped with schoolwork right now. Going to school for animation is insane. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. I don't think that it's gonna win. I just wanted to do this for fun, and it was really fun, so it worked out. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and if you stuck to the end, thank you so much. Like I said before, this is my first long-form video, so yeah, I just wanted to try it out, see if people would like it. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, and like the video if you liked the video. Have a great day. Bye.